Welcome to Missionize with the Missions Guys, a podcast of the Arkansas Baptist State Convention offering biblical and practical insight and strategies designed to equip and encourage missions leaders to carry on mission work. The goal is to fulfill the Great Commission from a church's local community to the ends of the earth. That is why we missionize. Now here are your hosts, the Missions Guys, Sam Roberts and Clint Ritchie.
Welcome to Missionize. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Clint Ritchie here once again without my co-host, Dr. Sam Roberts, who finds himself on the road and with a busy schedule unable to join us and didn't mess things up, I guess, too bad a couple episodes ago. And so once again, entrusted with this responsibility. Appreciate you listening to us. Encourage you as always to go and leave a review, make a comment if it's positive. But just continue to let us know how we can minister to you. You can reach us both at missionize@absc.org, and we love hearing from our listeners. Hey, on our last episode, if you didn't get a chance to listen to that, was one of my favorites that we've done. Warren Gazaway joined us to discuss the general movement that we are seeing among Gen Z, and specifically God's movement on college campuses across our state. So if you hadn't listened to that one, stop, go back and listen to that episode, and then come pick this one up right here. Because today we're going to dive deeper into that topic of what God is doing in Arkansas, across our state, on college campuses. Joining us today, or joining me, is two of our campus ministers, are Thomas Guinee, who is in Conway, and Matthew Stubbs in Little Rock. Guys, welcome to Missionize.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
So, Thomas, you, both of you guys have multiple campuses. A lot of our guys just have one campus, but Conway, you've got 3 campuses there, and Little Rock, y'all got a ton.
Too many.
Yes.
Too many.
So why don't you, let's just start off. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to Missionize listeners.
We'll let the handsome one go first.
That means it's you, bro.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Uno reverse on you.
All right, I'll go first. My name is Matthew Stubbs. I get to serve at Little Rock BCM, which I'm very thankful for. A little bit about me. I'm 25 years old, so I'm our youngest campus minister, so it's not intimidating at all. And I'm married to my wife, Becca Stubbs, who's incredible, and she makes me better at lots of things. Just for whatever reason, she's a dietitian and hasn't really taught me how to not eat as many sweet tarts as I do, but it's okay. But she's awesome, and she's loves the Lord and serves the church really, really well, and loves college ministry, loves college students. We met through BCM in Conway when we were both involved there as college students, and it's been a huge blessing to get to move to Little Rock and to get to be right on the front lines to see college students come to know Jesus every day at Little Rock. UALR is the main campus. We've got a lot of Pulaski Tech students, north and south, who will come to BCM on Tuesdays. And there's lots of other campuses around the Little Rock metro area as well. And so we're thankful to get to do that. We've been married a little over 2 years. We got a little dog whose name is Nico, who's psychotic, and but we love him. And so, we're having a great time. Thankful to be here.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm Thomas Guinee. Primarily, my greatest role in life is I get to be Hannah Guinee's husband. My wife's just incredible. I think she's one of the top-level ministry leaders in our state. A true blessing to the state of Arkansas. We're just glad that we've kept her here and she hasn't gone anywhere else in the world, and I'll claim full credit for that. We recently welcomed into the world, really our greatest blessing, our first son, Graham, who is about 7 weeks old, which I've been told in another week we have to start referring to him as months. So we're almost in the middle of that game. He just started daycare yesterday as well, so on to day 2. He's loving it. He's the most popular in his class. All the girls love him. It's really good. There was no tears dropping him off at all. And so on the side, my side gig to go with all those great things is I get to have the honor and privilege leading our BCM there in Conway. We serve students at UCA, CBC, Hendrix, as well as some other community colleges in the area, and then just a lot of young adults as well. And it's been really incredible. I started, this is the beginning of year 2, so I started May of, what year are we in, 25? May of 24 then. Yeah, man, I'll be honest, I don't even know what day it is. That's just the newborn trenches. So started year 2 here, and we're just immensely blessed. I am the most unimportant piece of our ministry. We've got some incredible student leaders that do some great stuff all the time, and so it's just an honor and privilege to partner alongside them.
Awesome. Are you guys getting much sleep at your house?
I think the typical joke I could make is no, but man, he honestly does pretty good. I'm all in team, let him sleep camp. Hannah, probably because she's wiser, is more aware if he needs to be fed, but I'll let him sleep all night. So he's been sleeping so good lately. So I'm feeling good, I think. That could just be delusion 7 weeks into it, but we've been doing pretty good the last week. You caught me on a good day.
Good. Well, you both have commented on your wives. If mine listened to this, I'd comment about how great she is as well. But, I'll just move on. Hey, mentioned in the last episode that some of the favorite texts that I get are when Warren shares what is happening on campuses. When he hears from you or one of the other campus ministers, hey, we had a service tonight and this happened. This many showed up. This many decisions were made. It's not about the numbers. It's the life change that we just keep hearing over and over again. You guys are seeing the Lord do some amazing things in your ministry. I mean, here we are when we're recording this. We're less than a month, I guess, or right at a month into the semester. The Lord just continues to bless not just your campuses and your ministries, but across the state. So tell us a little bit about what you're seeing God do on your campus.
Yeah, Clint, I can start. We really stepped into Conway last year with a prayer of beginning first with realizing a good gift that we had in student leaders. My predecessor, Brandon Moore, is just one of the great disciplers, one of the greatest ones I've ever met. If shepherding was a person, I really think like Brandon so encapsulates that. And so I stepped in with some really great leaders. And so we asked the question like, hey, with what the Lord has given us, where is he taking us next? And as we looked at what we had and we looked at then our mission field, we just saw several campuses in our city that were just so lost. We've got over 11,000 students there in Conway, and the vast majority of those, based off of the best statistics that we can get, are not walking with Jesus. I would say, and the number I give my students is that likely 10,125 of those students are not walking with the Lord. And so we really said, hey, what can we do in order to make that number go down? Because we believe the heart of the Lord, 2 Peter 3:9, is that all those students would come to know Jesus. And so I think there's a couple different ways of going at it. And I think the worst possible way is relying on my preaching ability. And so really, even though we have a midweek worship service, the goal was to get students involved in what's happening. And really this fall, that's what we're seeing. Last year, we saw a lot of salvations through our ministry. Most of those were through our worship service. But this fall already, we've seen 13 students make the decision to trust Jesus for the very first time. And the vast majority of those are students leading other students to Christ. Yeah. And that's just huge. We can look at our worship service and our student leader count and all that kind of stuff and celebrate those things. But the number I'm celebrating is that one on my whiteboard. That is those salvations, and that is the students who are leading students to Jesus.
Yeah. Wow, that's great.
Man, and just to add on to that, being on the campus, UALR specifically, enrollment is around 8,000 right now, or maybe a little bit more than that. And there are a large number of adults, because what they are, like they're adults that can vote, they can join the military, and they are trying to figure out what life is and trying to figure out adulthood, and they're walking the campus trying to find their purpose in something that's a major or a relationship or a job or an internship or whatever it may be. And as campus ministers, we get to come in and we get to show them that their purpose is literally to worship Jesus. And it's through those midweek. We do Tuesday night service, and Conway does Monday night. It's through a lot of that we're able to get student leaders, just like you're talking about, which is the most important part, to get to meet students where they're at, to get to love on them, and then get to invite them to their small groups that we do right after service. And that's the greatest thing that we do, I believe, because, again, it's just like you said, it's not relying on just me preaching every Tuesday, but all of the college students that are leaders that we have that are leading discussion with people who, a lot of them, I've never even owned a Bible before. And so one of the coolest things we had seen just this past year is we've given out dozens of Bibles to people. Just last night, we gave out 2 or 3 to people who didn't have a Bible. Being on the campus is one of the most tremendous opportunities to meet somebody exactly where they're at and to show them the love of Jesus and to remind them of what their purpose actually is. And to that point, it's not just through those weekly services that we do. There's, our lead team group me. A lot of our leaders right now are sending messages to everyone, talking about gospel conversations with people they're having right then and there, and they're just asking everyone to pray for them. So just this morning, we've had 2 of my leaders send in a message talking about a gospel conversation they had, talking about the person they had it with, and all of our leaders are getting on board and praying for that person and inviting that person to service and having lunch and coffee with those people, walking through the Bible with them. Like, it's incredible. And so really, again, we really are the least important person in that ministry. We get to just be the biggest support possible for the people that really, really matter, which are the college students there that really want to see their peers and their classmates come to know Jesus as their personal Lord and Savior. And so we've gotten to see that as well. Just this year, we've had, I think, 7 or 8 people come to know Jesus through Tuesday night services, throughout the week stuff. And it's just been a huge blessing for sure.
Yeah, let's go ahead and chase that for just a second, because one of the things that always impresses me with hearing from you guys right now, but other campus ministers as well, is the discipleship and the evangelism that's happening, the discipleship among your leaders, and then the evangelism that they're doing. And we look at your own, obviously, secular campuses, so folks are not coming majoring in Christian ministry on your campuses, but you are raising up a generation of next church leaders. And there may be some of these students, I believe there will be some of these students that'll serve the Lord in vocational ministry. But what I see is you are using students, you're discipling those students, you're using their gifts, and you're holding them accountable. You're sending them out to do ministry right there where they're living, among their peers, among their classmates. Jump into that a little bit more of how you were raising up and then sending out those students, those leaders.
Yeah, I really think, hey, if you're showing up on a college campus or if you're a church leader sending a student to campus, if they want to major in Christian ministry, the best thing that they can do is be a part of a BCM on their campus. We raise up more leaders and more ministers, I think, than any other place in the world. And so really what we're seeing, though, is like it all comes back to this place of, if a student is on campus, I really believe that first and foremost, the reason that they're there is because the Lord put them there. For sure, they're there to get a degree. For sure, well, hopefully they get their degree. Hopefully they go to classes, all those kind of things. But we have to realize the opportunity that we're given there. A lot of times in life, I think we can see certain things and think that they just came about by sheer chance. But I believe it's no chance that the entire concept of the college and university came about. I think the Lord was instrumental in bringing about that institution in order to gather people from all around the world in a place where ideas are going to be exchanged amongst a group of people that are trying to decide who they want to be and what kind of lives they want to live. If you want to talk about all the type of elements that lead towards a situation and an environment that's just prepped and ready for gospel conversations, the college campus is that. So if a student is there, then they are there because Jesus has put them there in order that their classmates might know the Lord. And so it really begins in helping cast that vision for a student. A lot of times a student can show up on campus and just not know the opportunity that they have, just not know the weight and the gravity of how important and such a blessing it is that the Lord has put them there. And so when we begin there, then really not only does it help set the stage for students, but it does for us as well. And just understanding this, that, hey, our job is not to create something really great and then look for students who might be good enough to join us in it. Our job is to say, hey, the Lord is working on our campus. The Lord has brought these students there, and if He has done that and He is working here, then our job is simply to look at every student following Jesus and say, hey, how do we set you loose to do what it is that God's calling you to do on campus? And so as we're raising up leaders, that's what we're doing, is we're just helping them identify, hey, God's given me this, God's placed me here, so how do I take what He's given me and go where He's working to be a part of how He's changing lives?
Yeah, and just to add on that too, like, there are a lot of folks, a lot of college students who come in with that idea of like, I'm going to get this major or I'm going to make a lot of money in this way or whatever. But Bit Stevens said it the best, that when you get to see somebody come to know Jesus for the first time right in front of you, you're hooked. And, that happened. One of my staff members, he's still a college student, but he came in as a political science major. He wanted to be a lawyer. His name was Logan, and wanted to just go and make a bunch of money. And then it was around this time last year where he recognized, that was not the calling the Lord had for him. And he fully surrendered to ministry full time. And so now we get to set him up both in BCM and in the local church to give him opportunities to really navigate that and to live that out and to serve in those areas and to love on people in a really tangible way. And so everything you're saying is gold. Like we get to see that happen all the time, where college students, I just had another conversation with a college student last night who just mentioned, yeah, man, like I know that I'm a biology major, but I have a desire to do ministry. And so really what we get to do, Colossians 3:17 says, and whatever you do in word or deed, do it for the glory of the Lord. Yeah. And in that, we get to remind all of them that ministry is not just in a vocation, but it's also as they're coming in and getting their majors, whether it's nursing or accounting or getting a doctorate or whatever it is, like your primary purpose is to glorify the Lord, and then he uses those occupations to do so. So like even for me, or for us as campus ministers, our calling was not to be campus ministers. Our calling is to be servants of the Most High God, and God has called us to be campus ministers in this role to do that. And so that's always secondary. So we get to remind students of that all the time, but then we also get to see tangibly where people are like, yeah, like I know God is calling me to a full vocational ministry position where we just get to help, just like you said, set them loose and like learn what that looks like and get plugged into local churches around the area that want to help in that.
Yeah, man, that's some great stuff. I also see, of course, a lot of times we focus on missions here on this podcast, is seeing college students that are spending their summers on the mission field. And then maybe even some that are delaying a year, probably much to the chagrin of parents, but maybe delaying a year to stay on the field. I know you guys had a lot of students serving this past summer. We know some of those may become full-time missionaries, but where are you also seeing? Because students could say on campus, and like you said, the nations have come to the campus, but they're having a heart for the nations and they're going. What are you seeing in that area?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first. Little Rock has been well known to have a large international student base in the past. And so, for my leadership team, we've got 6 leaders who serve on an international ministry team. And it's funny enough as it is, half of that group are international students that love Jesus. And they want to see other international students come to know Jesus. Because really, just like you said, there are people that are coming in from all around the world, some of them with all different kinds of cultural backgrounds with zero knowledge of the Bible coming in. And so really they come in for 4 years to get a degree, or a lot of them come in to get a graduate degree or whatever. And just really it's a blessing and an honor to get to be in that place where we can love on them tangibly and remind them, again, the same reminder we give everybody. Your purpose was not to come here to get a graduate degree. Like your purpose is to worship Jesus. And so we do a lot of things. My international ministry team has an event planned this Friday just for international students to reach them. But it's also the emphasis too that we try to remind everybody in that sense that that missions is not only across the world. Because I think what some people get confused about, I guess, is they think, okay, if I'm going to go across the world to Southeast Asia or whatever it is, boom, I get to do missions. But they also forget that God has called them to be on mission exactly where they're at right now, which is in their classrooms, in their jobs, in their families. That's one of the hardest things we try to teach people is all of our students have parents that have atheist backgrounds or whatever. Like God has called us to be on mission everywhere. And so to get to see a lot of those recognize that and then excel that and then go across the nations to get to see even more of that. It's been incredible.
And I think it's understanding locally that changes like how they go globally. I think for so many of our students, what I've loved seeing the shift in is they're now identifying every area of their life as a mission field. We had this freshman last year who pretty early on in the year ran into a guy in his dorm who was involved in BCM. He gets him to come on a Monday night. He hears the gospel. I got to lead him to Christ in my office. And so we started investing in that guy and walking alongside him and what it looked like to be a believer. But within his first semester, he already saw where the Lord was calling him to be. We got him plugged in with a local church there in Conway, Second Baptist, which is a great place for college students to be. And then he decided, hey, he needed to be a part of something on campus where he could really be around the lost and reach them. And so he rushed to fraternity, and he looked at me after a couple of weeks of doing all these things, and he said, hey, Thomas, I see how the Lord is calling me to reach guys here, and I'm plugged in with this great local church that you helped me find. Man, I don't have time for you anymore. And so a lot of times, if we're missing out on what God's doing, we could get competitive there, but that's the goal. We got him connected with a local church where his life is being changed, he's being discipled, and he has found his mission field to now where we can mobilize him out, and he can spend every day in the midst of lostness helping reach those guys around them. And so it's as a student understands what it looks like on a local level to be consistently and constantly in that mission of Christ that then helps them understand, hey, I also have a responsibility and an opportunity to go globally. And that's where we so appreciate all these different partners we get to work with in order to help students connect. I'm thinking of different programs through NAM and through IMB where students can go as part of Ginsend, as a part of Nehemiah teams. And then when they understand what's locally going on, that's what helps them understand globally how they can get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can say too, like, even on that, a lot of those folks that are considering going globally, they recognize, okay, they're still here locally.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they are loving on other believers and teaching them how to be on mission locally and prepping them to do it there. And so then when they go globally, they know that they've set a groundwork and they're not just leaving. Yeah. Like they're setting up other people to do it locally as well.
Yeah, I mean, we think about mission sending organizations, of course, IMB, NAM, but that's what the BCM is. Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys are sending out locally, sending out on your campus, you're sending, yes, globally. But what I love as well, and already talked about, you're raising up some of the next generation of church leaders that they may not stay in Conway or Little Rock. They may go back home. They may go, who knows where the Lord takes them. But when they go and they settle down and become professionals and you'll start a family, that they've been sent out by you guys. A lot of what they learned, yes, maybe even in churches as they grew up and they come to campus, but as you guys are pouring into leaders, raising them up and sending them out, I'm just always in awe of that and appreciate the ministry that you have. You know, Thomas, you mentioned connecting the one student in particular to Second Baptist, to a church. I want to point out what you guys do on campus is not a replacement for the church. Amen. Yeah. And I know that may have been a misconception that folks have had through the years. I mean, a priority that you have and something you're held accountable for here at the convention as far as your job is to connect students to churches. Talk to us about that. How are you doing it? And what is that looking like on your campuses?
So really, it's who we are. In Conway, I really try to help resource a lot of our folks locally to do ministry. And so when I'm talking to other campus ministers in town, there's a co-suffering they'll talk about, and they'll say like, well, for us parachurch ministries. And I always stop them right there because we are not a parachurch ministry. We are the local church's Arkansas Baptist campus ministry on campus. We are the evangelistic outpost set up by Arkansas Baptist to reach students and connect them with the local church. And I was talking to a guy the other week, and I was explaining to him like, hey man, that's what makes my job work. Like I could not do the things that I'm doing if I'm not a part of the local church, if we are not sent by Arkansas Baptist to be on campus. For us in Conway, it really helps define what we do. I'm not trying to solve anything that is found in the local church. And we are there on campus reaching students, doing outreach with them, sending them out and mobilizing them in evangelism on campus, and then connecting them with the local church where discipleship should take place. And so the local church is investing in these students, discipling these students over the course of their lifetime, and we do that in tandem with one another. I'm so incredibly blessed for the churches I partner with there locally. I truly believe in our city, I can't find another one in the U.S., we have more church-based college ministries really than anywhere else that I could find. And so not only do I get local church partners, but I have churches that have like peers with me in ministry, folks that I get to lean on, learn from, but also when I have a college student that comes to me and they say, hey, I want to find a church where I can get plugged in. Hey, oftentimes I turn around and Hannah Zerbel, Donnie De La Cruz, for sure Michael Treat, because we meet for BCM Collective in his church. I get to point them directly to those individuals. Our churches are so great at getting involved with what we're doing. In fact, Monday night, we had an opportunity where we just put an invite out to our local churches saying, hey, we'd love for you to set up a table. We'd love for students to come by and meet you. They're asking, they're begging for a church to connect with. And we had several churches show up. As soon as I stepped down off stage, there was a girl that came up to me. She said, hey, I want to find a church. And I said, you'll never believe it. This is the best night for that. And so she got to go over to the gym after a small group. She got to meet all these different churches and all these different ways that she can get plugged in and find small groups and find different ways that she can serve. And so what we do, it doesn't work if the local church is not involved. What we do is inherently tied to the local church because we are the local church's outreach and evangelism ministry on campus. And so when we reach students on campus, we don't have to wonder what our next step is, because our next step is connecting them where they're going to grow best in their relationship with Christ, and that is the local church.
Yeah. And just to that point, we are the local church's ministry, but we are not the local church.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful reality for us, because if we ever came to a point where we said, yeah, this is a church, well, then what happens when they graduate? Well, then they don't have a church. And the reality is, like, they should, again, fingers crossed, only be in college for 4 years, where if we are connecting with them and loving on them, giving them places to serve, great. But they could be serving in the local church for 10, 15, 20 years. And to get them connected in college, especially in Little Rock specifically, a lot of students who come here will stay because of all of the internship opportunities, just with so many businesses and so many places in Little Rock that they can work in. And so we make that a really strong emphasis that the local church matters, and we want you to get connected to the local church any way we can. So we have some incredible partner churches that are learning how to reach college students. They're growing in this. So many of them have the desire to reach college students right now. So I work with them all the time and try to train and show them, hey, here's what you can do to make it an inviting environment for a college student to come in on a Sunday morning. And so a lot of them will come in and they'll provide meals on Tuesday night because they just love serving college students. And then through that, I always give churches an opportunity to talk about their church and to talk about when their service times are. I invite them to come and be at the service to meet students one-on-one. I'm meeting with, we've got about 40 people on our leadership team for BCM. And all of our staff meet with them for lead team check-ins. And the biggest question we always ask them is like, hey, have you connected to a local church yet? And if they haven't, then we're like, okay, well, we need to get you connected to a local church, because that is what we do. And again, to your point, we're all on the same team when it comes to Kingdom Impact Ministry. But the parachurch or the campus ministries that don't funnel that way, that might struggle because of that, wonder why they struggle. And we have to be loving and caring and say, hey, we cannot be a church on campus. We want to connect students to the local church, because again, just like you said, that's where the deep discipleship is really going to take place, which we need and we love. And you talk about, from a numbers perspective, BCM and Little Rock has grown tremendously over this past year, praise the Lord. But, I and my staff, we can't invest in every single leader one-on-one every single week. We can't give them that deep discipleship. We don't have the tools, the availability for that like we might want to, but that's where we need the local churches to step up like they are now and get involved and love on college students and invest in them deeply. And so we believe in that we really do connect them to the local church, and we want them to be connected there.
Yeah, great. Hey, let's shift a little bit and talk about building off our conversation with Warren last week, and mentioned that a little bit already, just where we're seeing this movement that I don't know any other way to describe it than just a movement of God on campuses among this generation, not just on campuses, but the generation as a whole. Just the stories of life change, the hunger that's there. Thomas, you mentioned 11,000 students, and you estimate 10,125 of them don't have a relationship with the Lord. But we're seeing a movement that's unlike any other time in history. It wasn't very long ago that you guys were college students yourself, and just a couple weeks ago, Matthew, right?
Something like that, man. Something like that.
But as you see what God is doing now, why is it different than what was happening in previous generations, or even how's it different than what was happening when you were on campus as a student?
Yeah, I think we are living in times that we're prayed for. We're just so fortunate in what we do that we have people around the state who have just been praying and longing that God would do a movement. And yeah, Matthew and I are younger guys for sure. And so I think about just the folks in our state who longer than I have been alive have been praying for revival amongst college students in Conway, praying for revival amongst college students in the state of Arkansas. And after years and years and years of praying, we get to step in and live in the midst of those answered prayers. Yeah. And so I'm just immensely thankful for the churches and the individuals that have been and continue and will continue so much longer to pray for a movement of God amongst this generation. I just think back to Matthew 9. We see crowds that are hurt and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. The Lord tells us to pray. And as we pray, we unite with him in what he's doing, and we see the Lord do things. So I think we're just living in the midst of the answer to so many generations of prayer.
Yeah. We just wrapped up a series on Luke 15, talking about that same concept where Jesus gives 3 parables to the Pharisees, and the first one being the parable of the lost sheep. And the whole emphasis is that Jesus deeply cares about the lost one. And that emphasis, like you said, think about veterans like Bit Stevens and Lynn Lloyd and Arliss Dickerson, people who have been doing this for years, who have been praying for years for college students to come to know Jesus on the campus. And just like you said, and I know for a fact, Bit Stevens and I, she was at Little Rock for years, she was at Conway for years, and she is one of the most, she is a prayer warrior and prays for college students all the time, still serving college students now, and because they just love seeing that. And I think when we come to that reality, our churches are seeing that, faithful members of the body of Christ, like they're coming to that reality that Jesus deeply cares about the lost one, therefore we should deeply care about the lost one. So they're praying for that, and they're praying that college ministries and this generation of students would just boom right now, and it is. You talk about it's not, again, it's really not just Little Rock, and it's not just Conway. Like all of our BCMs around the state right now are God is doing an incredible work on all of them. Like we're seeing record numbers from all of them right now, which has been incredible. Like honestly, we get to, I think one of the greatest parts of my job is I get to be in the Campus Ministers group meeting. And through there, like, man, we get to see our friends like Luke Dawson and Adam McCampbell and Jared and Tyler, like sending messages in the group meeting, talking about what their first service was like, and talking about people that they've encountered, and talking about leaders that have been developing other people and have been sharing the gospel. And, when we get to a point where it's like, oh man, we're getting a little bit tired, getting a little bit weary, I just look at that and I get pumped, because that's it, man. Like we get to do that. It's like we get to be in that spot. And just like you said, prayer warriors for years have been preparing the way through their faithful work of the Lord and through just genuinely trusting that God's going to do a mighty work through college ministry. And so to get to be in that area, to get to be have the front row seat to that is a blessing.
Yeah, you mentioned some legends there.
Yeah.
Lynn, Bit,
Yeah.
Arliss. I mean, those are folks that were on the front line for many years and remain on the front line as well. Impacted a lot of lives, and to see even students that they reached that are now serving on campuses. I mean, and then like you're talking about, folks that have prayed for this moment, it's come full circle. And it's just amazing that you guys and all of us as a whole get to be a part of that now. So that's, I just want to encourage folks who are listening, don't give up.
Yeah.
It may take a long time before you see an answer to prayer, but you guys, Thomas, like you said, you're getting to experience the result of answered prayer from many years ago. So, this generation has been referred to as the anxious generation. Matter of fact, a book written by that title that describes, I think it says it's a mental health epidemic that this generation is facing. I read an article where a couple pastors noted, and I quote them saying, pervasive anxiety is creating a hunger for deep peace. Gen Z is hungry for the very things that secularism, consumerism, and global digital media cannot provide, but which Jesus can. How are you seeing that lived out among Gen Z?
One of the first things that comes to my mind is in the midst of this crisis that this generation is experiencing, the Lord is using it to open doors for us on campus. I've had some incredible conversations just in the last few weeks with administrators on each of our campuses there in Conway about their thankfulness and their willingness for us to be an active part of what's going on at campus. Now, I'm blessed in Conway. We have some incredible leaders on our campuses who partner so well with us, but they see us as an integral part of campus in terms of the service that we provide to students. Students are struggling. We witnessed that through COVID, but it wasn't something that was specific to COVID. It's just something that's been a reality for several years now. And what we're doing and the work that we're doing alongside the Lord is the answer to those things. So as students are experiencing this crisis, their freedom in it is found in the Lord and in the ways that He'll work in their life. And so it really opens a lot of doors for us. We get called things like retention agencies. Like we help with that on campus because we get to be there for students. And then on the student side of the equation there, we see so much of what students are longing for that is not met by the culture. We know this from a biblical standpoint, they'll only find it in Jesus, but now they are realizing it and watching it in the lives of their peers, that it will only be found in Jesus. This is why students are the most effective people at reaching students, because students have stories, and these stories were changed by Jesus, and they're the same kind of stories in their beginning as their peers. And as their peers are longing for certain things that are only found on the other side of salvation, these students that are sharing their stories, their specific story of encountering Jesus is the bridge from where they are to where God is leading them to be. And so as we send out students on campus, I think about Christian Boudreau, who's going out on campus, who has a story of coming to college as an athlete, just looking to meet girls and do whatever. As he then experiences an injury and has everything taken from him, then he finds Jesus in the midst of that, and he's now experiencing the life that he was always made for, and in that life is finding all the things that his heart truly longed for. And so now as he goes out on campus and shares the gospel, he has a story that can clearly illustrate for a student, here's where you are, and here's where God is, and here's how you experience and find all those things in a relationship with Jesus. And that's one of the reasons that Christian's one of our most effective evangelists. But what Christian's doing and what so many other students are doing is really that answer to the anxiousness that students are facing. It's getting the gospel to them in a way that they can experience life change in Jesus.
Yeah. And to that point, sometimes it's sometimes at those lowest points where you get to see some of the coolest results, because when students are at a high and they're pumped and stuff and they're kind of living this life and loving the things of the world or whatever, it's sometimes to be challenging to remind them that they're in need of a Savior. But a lot of times it takes them getting to that lowest point where we get to come in and show them what Matthew 11 says, where Jesus says, "Come, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Because that is the real reality of it, that we cannot give them rest. BCM in general cannot give them rest, but Jesus does. And so God just chooses to use us and our ministries and local churches to remind students of that. I think that's probably, when I meet with students pretty regularly, like that's probably one of the biggest things I hear today is just, man, I'm really stressed. I'm really stressed out. I'm anxious. So we just spend time and we just talk about it. Like I just ask, like, what are you stressed about? Why are you stressed about this? What do you think is causing this? And then we get to the root of it. And I just say, hey, have you went to the Lord about this? Because a lot of times what we do is we go to other people with our stress, which is not a bad thing, but we forget that we have a great high priest who we can go to directly. And we tell him that, like, let's go to the Lord directly about this. And to get to see them also come to that reality and go to the Lord directly, well, now they're learning when they have their friends who are also stressed, they get to remind them of that same reality, that they can go to the great high priest directly. And again, the world is loud and there's a lot of noise, and Satan uses all kinds of things to distract college students from focusing on what the Lord may have for them. But Jesus has got a better plan for them, and we believe that, and they believe it too.
Wow. Well, guys, we could talk all day about what you're seeing Again, it is amazing to see what the Lord is doing across campuses in and through your ministries. Thank you for representing Arkansas Baptist in the roles that you do. Wish our pastors got to see you in the sense that we do around here, and I wish all of us got to see you the way your local pastors do on your campus. But we want to give guys a chance to get to know you a little better through some rapid-fire questions. But before we do that, any final words you wish to share with our listeners?
Yeah, I would just say thank you. It's just such a privilege to serve Arkansas Baptists in this way. But we are not the ones who are making college ministry happen. It's the Lord, and He invites all of us to be a part of that. And so I would say, hey, church, keep praying. Church, keep sending your students. But church, get involved. I tell everyone that BCM Collective, our weekly worship gathering on Monday nights, it is not exclusive for college students. Anyone from our local churches is welcome to jump in on that. Now, I welcome anybody to join because it makes my numbers look really good when I send them to Warren. But I also love when members of the local church are there. Man, I can connect students with them. I have an alumni of BCM that attends Woodland Heights in Conway, and he comes on Monday nights. He's a part of what's going on. He financially gives to scholarship students to different events that are going on. Every time I announce an event, he comes up to me and he says, I'm going to pay for this amount of people to go to this event. And I know he's a young adult. He's not just like rolling in cash, but he just has a heart for what's going on. And so local church, thank you for all that you're doing. But let's keep it up. Let's stay involved. Any way that we can serve you, we'd love to know, and we'd love to get to know you better.
Yeah. And for real, like, again, that's the biggest thing, like being involved in prayer is just what we talked about. Like, prayer is powerful, and it has prepared the way for so many of the really cool things that God is doing on our campus. And so local church, if you're listening, wherever you're at, find out where your local BCM is now, and really to look at websites, look at Facebooks, look at all their things, get to know your campus minister, ask how you can be praying for him, because campus ministers all around the state have busy schedules, but we'd love to see college students come to know Jesus. And it's always encouraging for me to know when local church partners, just members in the local church, are praying for me, is one of the most encouraging things in the world to me. And so, I mean, man, it's just a blessing. And I just want to say thank you again for allowing us to get to do this full time, to get to love on college students. And a big part of our job, too, that we love to do is we love serving the local church in a lot of great ways. And so a lot of us will serve through interims or through pulpits or whatever. It's just a blessing for us to get to serve the church and to just give back just a little bit to what you guys have already given us. So thank you a ton.
All right. Well, guys, again, thank you for joining us. And I just want to say, if you're listening and you're not an Arkansas Baptist, I know we have listeners from other states. There are campus ministries in your state, regardless of where you live, here in Arkansas or somewhere else. Would encourage you, make a connection to your local campus, to that campus minister, to what the Lord is doing, and see how you can support them. Some great guys and ladies that are leading, and just want to encourage you, some build a relationship with somebody in that area, and let's just continue to celebrate how the Lord's working. All right, guys, let's rapid fire here just to get to know you. This is what people will remember you by, or your answers here.
Pressure's on.
That's right. All right.
That's it. Y'all can just click off right now.
Yes, yeah. Favorite meal?
Dude, buffalo wings, traditional. Man, go crazy.
I just love a good steak.
All right. Favorite restaurant?
Dude, Wingstop, buffalo wings, traditional, straight up.
Man, I love Don Pepe's in Conway. If it's outside of Conway, it's not a Don Pepe's, but Don Pepe's in Conway is the place to be.
All right. What's your go-to relaxation spot?
Man, for me, it's just honestly just next to my wife, wherever it is. It's less of where and who I'm with.
Gosh, my answer is going to sound so much worse. I love camping and hiking. If I can get out in the woods, I'm about it. Yeah, I hope Hannah's not listening to this spot. I love spending time with you as well. I love you so much.
She's probably not listening.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she turned off 40 minutes ago.
Like, I know everything I need to know about this guy.
I hear too much from him.
Besides the Bible, what's your favorite book?
Why are you looking at me?
Dude, because you love to read, Thomas.
Dude, I was literally going to say, anyone who knows me knows I'm not much of a reader. Gosh, I mean, I'm more of a podcast guy personally. Yeah. This is going to make me sound like such a basic white girl, but I love some true crime podcasts. I'm all about it. It's my road trip stuff right there. I also do get down with a little bit of Love Worth Finding, some Adrian Rogers sermons right there for me on Spotify. Yeah. Just not much of a reader. It's just who I am.
Dude, yeah, I'm not a great reader either, but there's a book I started reading that I've been really enjoying. It's called Lead by Paul David Tripp. That's been really enjoyable, but I also am a big podcast guy, and I listen to a lot of sermons and stuff. But I love listening to sports radio shows. So Locked On Razorbacks, John Neighbors, love it. Trey Biddy, those are always good times.
This guy knows ball.
Man, dude, love it, bro. So I just listen to a lot of sports podcasts and things like that too.
Well, and we've spoke of generational differences. That's where we are. I mean, old guys like Warren, they had a favorite book instead of podcasts. So you guys are, and we'll talk later about why your favorite podcast didn't missionize. But let's move on. Favorite genre of music?
Oh, man. Gosh.
Worship.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Maybe we should doctor our answers up a little. I tell you, for me lately, it's been anything Dolly Parton. I've discovered.
It's a genre?
It is a whole genre, and I will argue that to my grave. And it's because it's my son's favorite genre. He loves the song Jolene, and so we listen to that on repeat to daycare, back from daycare, in the midst of him screaming. We dance around to it in the living room, all that good stuff.
Dude, we like me and my wife. We like Need to Breathe type stuff and folky type stuff, and she loves the band Camino, so I started liking the band Camino as well. So things like
Gen
that.
Z.
So really, dude, it is kind of Gen Z, isn't it? But that's okay.
It's really angsty and sad.
But I love me a little Frank Sinatra in there too. Believe it or not.
I really thought you were gonna say Forrest Frank, but
nah, dude. Frank Sinatra's the way to go.
The better Frank.
Yeah, Frank Sinatra walks, Forrest Frank could run. Wow. Yeah, that's it.
All right, first concert you attended?
Oh, Winter Jam 2005, headlined by Skillet. Wow. It was incredible. We had Tropical Smoothie before we went in, and then the Flames were going all over stage. I think Family Force 5 was there too. I could not tell you a single song by any of those people anymore, but Elementary Thomas had a great time.
Dude, yeah, I think it was also Winter Jam for me, but I don't think it was 2005. I think it was probably 2008 or 9 or something like that. But I don't even remember who all was there. I remember New Song was there every year, but my dad would always bring us there, so it was a good time.
Well, speaking of coming full circle, we've done that. Most of the time our guests mention something that occurred before my lifetime, somebody I don't know. Now you're talking about Elementary Thomas in 2005.
That's right.
I have aged. All right. Favorite place to visit?
Oh, man. I had the chance to jump back out to Colorado recently. I had a buddy who lived out there for years, and we promised to go visit him. And as soon as we got it planned, then he moved to Chicago, but we went back out there recently and got to spend some time on the Colorado Trail. So that was really fun. It was a good time.
Yeah. Honestly, we go to North Arkansas a lot because my wife's family is from there, and we just love spending time with her family. And so we were just there this weekend. My sister-in-law is pregnant, and so we got to see her gender reveal and all that stuff. So that's always a good time. It's good to hang out with them.
Yeah.
Dude, you're crushing me on these answers. I gotta let you go first. Let me say my favorite place. You say your wife.
See,
I didn't.
I intentionally let you go first so I can make sure I say the right thing.
All right, last
so
one.
much trouble.
Here we go. Favorite sport?
Whatever sport my wife is playing.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on now. That's all right. Yeah, my wife ran cross country and track at UCA, so definitely a track guy
There
right
you
here,
go.
right? But college football, love college football.
Amen.
Man, I love some sand volleyball. I picked that up a lot when I was playing college, when I was in college. We got a little sand volleyball court behind that house. Thank you, Brandon Moore, for the blood, sweat, and tears putting that in. I just love getting out there and humbling some students.
I helped with a little bit of that
Did
when
you
I was
really?
in college. I did not do a good job. But
Okay, yeah, I was about to say there's some problems with it.
Yeah, there
but
is.
Yeah,
There is.
thanks
It's
for
okay.
that.
We won't talk about it.
Well, guys, you're off the hot seat. Thank you for joining us again today, and thank you, listeners, for joining. Thank you for just your faithfulness in serving wherever you are. You're not in a place that's obscure or forgotten. The Lord knows. Just continue to be faithful, and look forward to joining back with you right here in 2 weeks.
Thanks for joining the Missions Guys today. If you liked what you heard, rate and review us on your favorite podcasting platform. And to keep up with what is happening in Arkansas Missions, visit absc.org/missions.